First up, a mega Magicbricks Now impact. It's a big win for the Beda Brigade on the VVIP flyover in Bengaluru. Your voice has made this happen. The NGT, or the National Green Tribunal, has stayed the controversial steel flyover for 4 weeks. Magicbricks Now has been consistently taking up this issue ever since the controversial flyover was commissioned by the Karnataka government. Your channel stood by the stand taken by the citizens, and your voice was finally heard. Here's a report.
The work on controversial steel flyover linking Basaveshwara Circle to Hebbal that was to begin early this November has got an interim stay by the National Green Tribunal for 4 weeks. In fact, the National Green Tribunal ordered the suspension of BDA's order, asking the government to submit a detailed report on the impact of the construction of the flyover on the environment. In fact, in a press conference today on Thursday, Union Minister Sadhana Nagada told the media that there is no transparency in the project and that the government should hold public consultations with the citizens. Now, however, taking note of the concerns of citizens of North Bengaluru and the proposed flyover which comes under the Sadhana Nagada's Bengaluru North Lok Sabha constituency, he told the media that this flyover can in fact help decongest the city's traffic. In fact, ex-IAS officer and whistleblower M.N. Vijay Kumar has alleged that L&T that it has been blacklisted by World Bank and by Joint Parliamentary Committee headed by Prem Chandra Sagar for irregularities. Now the big question is why the Honorable Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and Bengaluru Development Minister KJ George are keen on getting the project completed through blacklisted companies. In Bengaluru, Shrija for Magicbricks Now.
Now, we also caught up with Bengaluru Development Minister KJ George. Listen to what he had to say.
Chennai branch of NGT has just given a ruling for the BDA to stop the flyover for the next 4 weeks till you get clearance. What's your reaction?
We respect the court verdicts, the NGT. We will give furnishing all the details to the NGT, and we are confident we will get a go-ahead with the NGT after giving all the details to them.
Could this not have, this clearance could have been taken before to avoid such an embarrassment?
No need of taking the thing. This is a court. This is whatever the clearance is on, we already taken wherever is necessary. And somebody is going to the court. That is what I feel. These people, they are against the people. They don't want to decongest Bangalore. They are talking about environment. They don't know how much pollution is creating because of the traffic jam and all the things. And they are against the Bangalore development, I feel. Anyhow, we'll respect the NGT. We'll put all the facts before the NGT. And we'll see finally what the NGT says, we'll agree.
Meanwhile, BJP Minister Sadhana Nagada speaks on the controversial flyover to Magicbricks Now. Listen to what he had to say.
Sir, is it not the responsibility of the state government, when it is not resolved here, let them approach the Urban Development Ministry Direct Center. We will cooperate. How we have cooperated in Kaveri issue, how we have cooperated in Krishna issue, how we cooperated in Mahada issue. Of course, the initial stage there might have been certain misconceptions and all that, but later on how we acted in the larger interest of the state. So, why they are hesitating? If they are not able to convince we people, let him go to the center and convince our urban development minister.
Will you take it there, sir? Will you have a word with him?
Is it not the responsibility of the state government?
Since they are not going, will you take it?
Sir, certainly at time, I should wait for some time. BMRD office, and I requested him to show me the presentation. I put some questions to him. It was his responsibility to see that at least the people's representative of that area should be taken into confidence.
Right.
I am not only member of parliament, fortunately I am the central minister also. I myself spoke to him, what are you doing, what the things are going on.
Now, Santosh Hegde of Lokayukta says the government must find an alternative route even as the NGT has stayed the construction of the steel flyover in Bengaluru for 4 weeks. Listen to this.
Well, at least one competent adjudicating authority, National Green Tribunal, has granted an interim stay for 4 weeks. Otherwise, the government was very keen to start it as fast as possible and rush it through and make the protest against it infructuous. I'm very happy that Green Tribunal has pass this order so that there will be some discussion across the table in front of an adjudicator. It's not only a question of cutting 800 trees, it's also a question of the amount involved in that construction, 1,800 crores of rupees. Experts in the field have said that much money is not required, and others also who are concerned with the construction of steel bridges have said, given reasons all over the world where steel bridges have been dismantled because it is not the best way to tackle the traffic problem. But these people do not want to discuss anything. If you say that send a Twitter group sends 100 messages, they say we got 200 for it, and such like argument is being placed. And you sit across the table with the experts and they talk anything, they say we have also consulted. This type of arrogance in administration is not suited for democracy, where people's voice must be heard. Once you are elected, that doesn't mean you got a carte blanche power of attorney on behalf of the voters to do what you want to do and all.
Bengaluru's controversial steel flyover is indeed the big story today, and we do have Magicbricks Now's editor Fait Souza joining in on the show. Fait, thank you so much for taking time out. I wanted to ask you, forget you being a journalist and an accomplished journalist, etc., as a citizen of Bengaluru, how does it make you feel when you see all of this going on, and the government and the authorities being so adamant that they will chop down 850 odd trees?
Well, Krishna, it's an excellent question. As a citizen of Bangalore, we know that in Bangalore, the thing that the citizens are most proud of is the green cover.
True.
And it's what they're most emotionally attached to. In spite of the fact that the metro is such a brilliant addition to the city, people are still smarting about the fact that we lost a lot of trees to the metro. Now, this particular flyover attracted a lot of objection, and I think this is something a lot of governments need to realize. We are seeing citizen activation happen a lot more. It happened in Navi Mumbai with regards to Tukaramundi. It happened in Mumbai with regards to the potholes and the corruption. We're seeing it happen in Bangalore. There are more and more citizens getting involved, and Bangalore citizens have always been very vocal. They've felt very strongly. They've always been very, well-read, well-informed about their city. Now with social media and with the internet, they have the ability to sort of band together. With Twitter and Facebook, which is what we saw, 8,000 citizens came out onto the street simply because of, connections being made over the internet and connections being made by the media on issues like this. So, I think that while this is new for a lot of governments, specifically for the government of Karnataka, it's something they're going to have to get used to. We saw the government of Karnataka up until last night on this very channel turn around and say, hey, you know what, we are elected representatives. It's up to the cabinet. It's up to the chief minister to take a call. And if we decide that this is what is best for the city, this is what is best for the city. We don't have to put it to vote every single time. Now, that sort of disregard for public opinion, I think, is what we're seeing today. And I know that several citizens in Bangalore will be heaving a sigh of relief to know that the NGT has actually, even if they put the brakes on it for 4 weeks, 4 weeks is a very long time to send the government back to the drawing board saying, redo your environment study that was never done to begin with, saying that you will chop down 800 fully grown 100-year-old beautiful trees from golf course, from Windsor Manor Circle, and replace them with saplings is just not going to cut it. So actually do a scientific environment impact study and get back to the NGT. We would all love to see what the result of that impact study is.
Faye, I have to add it at this point in time, you're talking about social media and how it's this glue which is making citizens bandy together, and we here at Magicbricks Now have done our part as well, getting all those reactions from social media, getting citizens and authorities concerned to talk it out, to thrash this major issue out right here on this channel. I'm just going to hold this conversation hold your thoughts for a bit, Faye, because let's now listen to what the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Sadhana had to say.
Flyover ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬಂದೆ Sir, but all of them are accusing that the permissions have not been given yet, be it from the forest cell. Yavado permission ತಗೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ first cabinet ನೋಡಂತೆ.
Everything is taken.
Faye, I'm going to have to ask you to just start off by telling me what you thought of that response from Chief Minister Sadhana Nagada.
I think, Krishna, the very telling detail was the fact that he looked annoyed with our reporter. And Pooja Prasanna works with our sister channel Times now. She's been asking him that same question every day for the last couple of weeks. And the state government, whether it is the Chief Minister Siddaramaiah or the Minister for Bangalore, KJ George, have seemed more and more agitated by or sort of annoyed by the responses they're hearing from citizens. They started off saying that these people don't know what they're talking about. They went on then to say this is, you're just opposing for the sake of opposition, and you don't really have a point. Then we had a couple of people say that they want the flyover. But the point, if we set aside, there's no way really to tell, to argue these soft points out. The hard points are this: an environment impact study was not done. Now, that needs to be done. Thankfully, the NGT has put that forward. The other hard point is this, that you actually don't have numbers to tell you how many man-hours will be saved, what kind of productivity will be saved by this flyover, how many people will be benefited, what is the comparison of that to the number of people and the man-hours that we lose at Silk Boat Junction or at KR Puram Road or on the way to Electronic City every day. Why is this flyover so important? Why aren't we considering other routes? Why aren't we considering other options? That sort of scientific numbers, let's get down to that. Give us actual data points that can make this debate that much healthier. The point is that everybody, the government hasn't done enough homework to satisfy the citizens, and that's the truth. It's not me, it's not you, it's the fact that the citizens are unhappy.
I'm afraid if that scientific study does get done, at the end of that study, it will say that please do not build this flyover. I'm guessing that is probably the reason why that study is not even, done so far.
That may be so. Krishna, to be fair, let's give, if we give the government the benefit of doubt, and their whole argument is here that we know what's good for the city. You people, and again, this was targeted to me last night. It said you people were complaining about traffic when there was traffic, and now we're giving you a solution and you're not taking the solution. So the point is, we're not arguing with the fact that you need to solve the traffic problem. We're arguing with the manner in which you're doing it.
Absolutely.
And the truth at the end of the day is that you have not satisfied your customers. You've not convinced your citizens. And as a government, I don't think any government should forget about the fact that your citizen is effectively your customer, your tax-paying customer, your voting customer. That's something to take into consideration. And I think, if we can get our hands on that environment impact study, and if the government can prove to us that there is no impact, which I seriously doubt, but if they can, then they will be able to convince their citizens, which, let's be honest, without that study, they're not able to do.
All right, Fait D'Souza, editor of Magicbricks Now, thank you as always for taking time out to be with us here on the show.
You can watch live TV on our website, mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Magicbricks Now. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magicbricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/Magicbricks Now.